Hey everyone, welcome to Plants and Politics. So this news is a little dated, but I wanted to share it with you guys in case you didn't see coverage. It wasn't widely covered. And I also wanted to call out those on not just the right, but even the left who try to brush these types of things off as either government conspiracies or just a case of entrapment. So you guys probably all know by now that more than a dozen men were arrested and they were charged with crimes because the government alleges that they were plotting to abduct and murder the Michigan governor, Gretchen Whitmer. Well, there's been quite a few stories circulating about how informants were embedded in the group, and there's been all these salacious details and stories about some of the investigators and how they're rightfully they are pieces of shit. It's true. One of them, for instance, he slammed his wife's head against her nightstand, and then he was choking her to the point that she almost passed out. And this was because they got in a fight, apparently, after they both attended a swingers party together. And apparently there was like some jealousy going on or something. They get in this fight. And so he's choking her. She believes he's actually going to kill her. I mean, she's got blood coming out of her head. And so she evidently had to grab and squeeze his junk to get him to let go. Otherwise, she'd probably be dead. Well, yeah, that's horrible. The guy is scum. I mean, they clearly have something going on with their marriage. But guess what? There are plenty of vile people out there who are attorneys, they're judges, they're police officers, they're others in positions of authority. It doesn't make the facts of a case any less relevant or legitimate. So here's the latest on this Michigan kidnapping case. Some of the defendants were trying to get the case dismissed. They claim that the government essentially created this case out of thin air, that their informants were pushing and prodding these men to commit these crimes. So basically they're saying, unless these FBI plants, if they hadn't twisted their arms and encouraged this behavior, these men were just totally happy to sit around and bitch and moan about Governor Whitmer and her COVID restrictions. These are just innocent men. They're just sitting around their He-Man woman hater club, griping about the lockdowns. Well, they had no intention of doing any harm. Well, in response to the motion, this motion to dismiss, U.S. District Judge Robert Jonker rejected their request, and he wrote in part, quote, "They must show that the undisputed evidence demonstrates both government inducement and a patently clear absence of predisposition as a matter of law. Defendants fail to carry their burden because the evidence on both issues is decidedly disputed, as it almost inevitably is at this stage of the case." So what he's saying is that it's too early to know. Everybody has to bring their evidence forth in court, and then they'll know if the government is guilty of basically what they're saying they did, which is entrapment. And then Jonker also wrote, quote, "Simply setting up a ruse, even an extended one, or running a confidential source, or even proposing a criminal act is not enough." So according to Law and Crime News Outlet, it is possible that the judge may reconsider. He may look at this argument down the road and say, yes, that's possible. But they say it's a really high bar that they have to clear in order to prove entrapment. And here's the thing. Here's why I find this argument laughable in most cases. How many people can really, truly be goaded or enticed into murdering someone, unless that's something that was already on their mind? It's something they already wanted to do. And even if you are urged to do it, you still did it. It's on you. Own your shit. These are grown-ass men. They're not impressionable teenagers. This is like, the cases where they try to blame the feds for offering money or offering explosives to would-be bombers and terrorists. I'm sorry, but you offered me money or actual explosives or weapons and encouraged me to go blow up someone's home or murder them, even someone I hated, I'm either going to laugh in your face or I'm going to report you to the police or possibly even both. You know why? Because I'm not a homicidal sociopath. I'm tired of hearing this. Oh, well, the feds made them do it. Without the feds providing them the means to carry out the act, it would never have happened. So, okay, let's play that out then. Let's play out an alternative scenario. Let's say the informant or the undercover agent doesn't offer them cash, doesn't offer them weapons or explosives to go blow anything up, to go murder anyone. So the arrest never happens because that person didn't have the means to carry out their crime. And then this potential criminal is still out on the loose. They're still carrying the same ideologies, the same hatred. What happens 3 months down the road, 6 months down the road, maybe even years down the road, when that person then becomes associated with, acquainted with someone who shares his or her beliefs? And that person does have the financial means or the connections to get weapons or explosives or whatever. If given the means to carry out a horrific or deadly crime, someone takes steps to follow through on that crime, then they are a danger to society. But for their access to money or to weapons or whatever the case may be, they would be committing a crime. And look, I don't believe that the FBI or other alphabet soup of agencies are all lily white, they're all pure, they're all noble all the time. But in a case like this, it doesn't appear that there was much coaxing necessary. Now, if the undercover feds or an informant is directly responsible for radicalizing the suspect, that's a different matter. That actually has happened in several cases involving Muslim defendants, and that was after 9/11. But these guys appear to have been pretty deep in the rabbit hole before this whole situation unfolded. I mean, some of them are said to have gone to the Michigan state capitol with weapons. They were protesting COVID lockdowns. So can you imagine what these guys would have been doing potentially on January 6th of last year? If they hadn't already been arrested, if they weren't already in prison or in jail, what they would have done at the Capitol? No, sorry. If the only thing keeping you from committing a deadly crime, a murder, is your access to a weapon or explosives, that's not someone who should be walking around on the streets. So if someone offers it to them and they go through with it, they take them up on the offer. That's like saying, oh, well, he didn't rob the bank because everything was locked up. But if everything was open, he would have gone in and availed himself of everything in the bank. Just because it's open doesn't mean you take everything. Doesn't mean you're allowed to take it. Makes you a criminal. Makes you a thief. You go to jail. I don't care if the bank vault was open. So anyway, guys, I'll let you know as I hear more about this, but I'm glad that so far the judge isn't dismissing the case. Hopefully, experts in this are correct and that these guys aren't going to have an easy time of it trying to prove that they were entrapped, because I think it's a bunch of BS. But I'll let you know, keep you posted. Take care. I'll talk with you soon.